locker room, and I thought that was really, really good television. Actually, reminded me, if you're old like we are, well, probably me, but WCW Starrcade Battle Bowl 91, the Lethal Lottery, which was tag teams are formed by random drawings, and they had cameras in both locker rooms, and you could see where, you know, the heels were with the heels and the faces were with the faces, and it was so cool. It just added a little behind the scenes and a little more emotion to it, because, like, okay, Seth Rollins got drafted to Raw. Did he like it? Didn't he like it? We didn't know. That's a good one, buddy. Nice job. There's a couple that are similar, but the thing that really peed in my cornflakes was starting 2016 with the WWE signing Nakamura, the Bullet Club, and AJ Styles from New Japan. The worst part was we were watching Wrestle Kingdom all together, and you and BK had known about that. And there I am sitting Johnny Happy Pants watching some really good wrestling, and at the end of the show, you two let me know that 4 of my favorites from New Japan had jumped ship and abandoned to go to Titan Towers. Man, that really pissed me off, I'll tell you that much.
But now you get to watch them every week on American TV.
That brings me to number 4.
Oh, okay.
The usage of Anderson and Gallows this entire year on Monday Night Raw. They went from being doctors who carried around Big E's nuts in a jar to certified badasses to a couple of guys that are on the jobbing end of the Enzo and Big Cass stick. So, number 5 and 4. I'm at 5. Yeah, so it's up to you. Yeah, you're back to you.
Back at me at number 4. So I wanted to mix it up. I didn't want to do all WWE ones because Lord knows I could have found probably like a dozen of those. But
yeah, on this show this week.
I decided that for ROH, the thing that bothered me, and I remember specifically in the first half of the year, it bothered me a lot, was their TV taping schedule. And the way that they taped shows and then aired them on their weekly TV as they had pay-per-views being built up just was not very well laid out. I remember they were showing matches from Japan like 2 months after it happened. I think
like a week before pay-per-view.
Yeah, like when I think it was when Ishii won the TV title off of Roderick Strong. Like they showed it on TV like 6 to 8 weeks later. The title had already then got switched back to I think Bobby Fish. It was just bad situation. Like they were showing stuff from Japan for like 2 months, and they had a pay-per-view coming up in March, and it was not good. I remember they also had a pay-per-view that Colt Cabana main evented against Jay Lethal with I don't remember almost any TV build for that at all, and it was like the main event of pay-per-view. So that's one of the things from Ring of Honor that I really want to see them improve on is there's the schedule of when they tape TV and how they build it out so that it's very they have a pay-per-view. I understand you maybe can't have something ready for the next week right away, but at least a week later or something, have schedule a taping for the next night and then tape 4 or 5 weeks of TV and then air it right after, so you have the follow-up after the show. You know what I mean? The timing of stuff was way off, and it kind of turned me off for a little while. I think they've gotten a little better lately, but I think they need to be more consistent with that. Okay,
so your number 4 is Ring of Honor's taping schedule.
Yeah.
I will agree with you, they have gotten better lately, and I feel like they're on a better track now. They took off for the holidays and they're back, but no, I think that's a good number 4.
And then number 3, I went with the whole TNA ownership disaster that happened a few months ago between Dixie Carter and Billy Corgan trying to get control of the company, and now Anthem comes in and takes it over.
Boy, it sounded like that really smashed your pumpkins. Am I right? Yes. Got him. Nice. I suck.
But yeah, I mean, I don't have to get into great detail with all that, but I mean, it was just a giant mess. Dixie Carter obviously did not do a good job of running that organization for however many years she was there.
She put in a lot of work into it. Don't get me wrong, but
a lot of the guys that they had that were really, really good have left. Which I mean, I understand that's what happens. But now they're in a bigger promotion in the latter part of their careers. Guys that had stuck there for a long time, like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode. All gone now, and in WWE or NXT.
EY, Austin Aries,
Oh yeah, all those guys. And the whole thing with the ownership, it seemed like Corgan was the guy that wanted the company. Some of the wrestlers wanted him to take over. He was trying to incorporate some different things into the show, and that kind of blew up. And
he did a really good job with the Grand Championship.
They did, not.
Yeah, well, they initially did.
Yeah, I guess anyway, it was turned into a giant mess, and now Anthem owns it. And of course, now they do a set of TV tapings in this year, and everything's pretty much exactly the same as it was, and no changes. So hopefully they change some things around. But yeah, that was one of the ones on my list that kind of bothered me for 2016.
They have an owl, bro. Okay, it's the owl. All right, so I want to break these next couple up. Let's go. Yeah, the top two pissed me off the most were WWE. But number 3 was Tatsuya Naito losing the IWGP Heavyweight title to Okada so quickly after winning it. Los Ingobernables de Japan is incredibly over in Japan, and I think he should have had a longer run with it, but I think they went back to Okada because they knew they could draw money, and I think they should have kept it on Naito going into Wrestle Kingdom Middle East, and then you could have had Okada win it back there, which would have been fine, but Naito versus Omega would have done really good business because they had one of the top 10 matches of the year in the G1, but I just wish... It's almost like a Cena thing, right? Where it's like he's kind of your security blanket. You know you'll draw money, but you gotta get the other guy over. And I mean, they just... I don't want to say they wrote their wrongs. They righted, right? They righted their wrongs by having Naito beat Tanahashi, but they're trying to get the shine back on him, if you will. So I did not like him losing the title so quickly. Second thing that really... Well, these both really pissed me off, but... I think we might share one of them. But the second thing that's pissed me off this year, pretty good, is the Cruiserweight division of the WWE. The Cruiserweight Classic was fantastic television. It was great competitive matches, everybody from all over the place. And as soon as the Cruiserweight Classic was over, you had the Cruiserweight title, and that was it. And now it's absolute garbage. It's atrocious. It's not the fault of the wrestlers, don't get me wrong. 2, 4, 3, 1, 2, 3-minute matches consistently week after week after week. There's a little bit of build towards the title now with Rich Swann and Neville, and the storyline is there for Neville, but nobody's going to care about your contenders because you're giving them 2-minute matches every single week, and I think it's just you have so much talent and they're so handcuffed, and it's so bad. And even on their own show, the matches aren't that great, but the matches are better on 205 Live, but if that's the case, then take them off Raw.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good one. I didn't think of that one. That's a good point. That's a pretty bad... they dropped the ball pretty good, I guess, on the Cruiserweights, I'll say.
But the ball was glass, and the ball broke, I feel like.
So number 2, for me, is Dean Ambrose, WWE Champion.
Oh, come on. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Come on,
horrendous stuff.
Oh, there's
pretty
been worse
bad
champions.
I'm not saying he's the worst champion of all time. That goes to the JBL, I think. But he just the way the whole thing, I didn't like. I'm kind of tired. I'm kind of over the whole Money in the Bank cash-in. Pretty tired of that situation.
Yeah, me too.
So he won the Money in the Bank briefcase and then cashed in on the same show. Seth Rollins had just come back and beat Roman Reigns for the title cleanly in that on that same show. And people, I think, even though they positioned Rollins as a heel, which was one of the items that just missed my top 5. But
you mean your 5 count?
That's right, the 5 count.
I'm so tight you keep calling top
5. But they had him. Ambrose won the title right away. It was kind of out of nowhere, and then I just didn't like his run at all. Like the comedy stuff. We've talked about that on recent shows. The comedy stuff was bad. I didn't like the way he presented himself as a champion. It was just not a good look. So. And I'm not a huge fan of him in general, but certainly for his reign as champion. So I was extremely happy when AJ Styles defeated him and won the title at Backlash in September. So that was number 2. And then number 1 for me, this will probably be number 1 for many, many, many years to come, which is the atrociousness of Stephanie McMahon on Monday Night Raw every week.
Son of a bitch, that was my number 1.
Yeah, it has to be.
Nice.
It just how horrible she is as a character makes me and probably many other people that watch the show want to turn it off. And the way that she treats the talent and cuts them down, and really, like I said, like you have said before, she doesn't wrestle often, so she doesn't get her receipts. The last time I think she wrestled was against Brie Bella, which she won when Nikki Bella turned on her sister. So
she wore the Dominatrix outfit, right?
Yeah. So it's just. It's not a good situation. They need to get her off TV. They need to get her out of control and just not involved in this TV or storylines at all altogether. If you had, guy like Shane and Debray obviously are baby faces, but so is Mick. But those guys, I think, just being in charge of a show is such a more like a fresh thing because Debra's never done it before. Shane hasn't been around in a long time. It just has to present so much better than what they're doing on Raw with her. So I'm disgusted. Obviously, that's the rest of the.
Well, you kind of stole my thunder there, but no, I everything you said more. I completely agree with you. And now she's not only. See, this just hit me too. You know what really pisses me off is she verbally berates the male talent, which is one thing because they obviously cannot strike her back or fight back. But now you have her verbally berating the female talent, who obviously can fight back, but choose not to because they're faces. I don't know, but Stephanie McMahon is the worst thing going on TV right now, and there's not even a close. Well, the cruiserweights are a close second, I feel like, for me, but that's they're bad. Actually, I'm going to put you on the spot. Give me a couple of your honorable mentions.
Well, I had the two that I thought of were related to like turns, like either from face to heel or vice versa. So the one was the Seth Rollins thing, like when he came back from his injury, like had a really like good support. Like people hated Reigns at that point, right? He came back. They should have. I mean, listen, I get the reasons why they don't want to turn Reigns, but like they should have done a double turn there. Like that was the obvious thing, and then had Rollins win, and they forced him as a heel on us because of the Reigns situation, and then they ended up turning him babyface like 3 months later, and he was cold at that point. Like, he significantly cooled off.
Yep.
So that was one that they just dropped the whole ball with that, and the other one I thought was that I didn't like was Jay Lethal, the face turn, which I don't like at all in ROH. I think
that was a soft face turn. Very soft.
Very soft, and they just dropped the whole heel thing, like out of nowhere. Like he didn't even really have an official turn. Like he just started feuding with Cole and the Bucks, and they shaved his head, and that kind of, I guess, made him babyface. But he dropped. The Truth Martini like had gone for certain like neck surgery, and then they just told him never to come back. Like they told him not to come back when he was ready to come back because they dropped the whole House of Truth gimmick. He used to go with Taylor Hendricks. They just dropped that out of nowhere, and he used to have the whole like big entrance with the robe and all that stuff. And now he walks out in a t-shirt by himself. And he's still a great wrestler, but I just think as a character, he's like way, way, way less interesting for me to watch. So if they were going to turn him babyface, like that's okay, but they should have maybe made an angle out of that with Truth Martini and Taylor Hendricks, or had something happen maybe to give him a little bit more, I don't know, of a jump, I guess, to a face push. So I thought it was kind of like you said, like kind of soft, kind of weak, the way that they did it. And like he hasn't really. He had that match with Cody Rhodes at Final Battle, but he hasn't really done a whole lot of worth since then. He just signed a 2-year deal, so hopefully they have something more planned.
Have you seen all the matches he's supposed to be in coming up?
I don't know.
He's in a couple of really marquee matches. They actually just announced a match today. I don't know when it's for, forgive me, but it's Jay Lethal, Bobby Fish, and the Briscoes versus the Young Bucks, Adam Cole, and Cody Rhodes.
Yeah,
that match should be. You'd be hard pressed to find 8 more talented guys in a match all year. That match should be absolutely insane. So hopefully this is the beginning of something different for Jay Lethal. I like his look now. He looks so much better bald, with a shaved head. So I hope that's I'm with you. I hope it's another push in the right direction. For me, just outside my top 5, the New Day. Very close to the New Day. They stink. Stink on ice, actually. That gimmick has run so wildly stale. I don't even know where to go with it. And B, what else really pissed me off was, Kevin Owens' whole year, despite being the champion, I think it's been pretty bad. But starting with the lack of an explanation for the Triple H thing, that really pissed me off too.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Talk about not being able to button up a storyline. I get it, you want to let it drag on, but you have to at least, But at the same time, you have the UK tournament thing going on, and you have Triple H come out and cut this babyface promo. Kayfabe is dead, man. Everybody knows where Triple H is.
And then he tweeted right afterwards that he was going back to the US for Raw, which I feel like was like a mistake on his part, because it's like, well, he's not on the show, so like, why is he tweeting that he's going to Raw? And I think Rollins picked up on that and like responded, but like nothing ever happened with it, so it was just kind of silly.
Terrible.
Yeah,
absolutely terrible.
Bad booking.
And actually, we could talk about the rest next week. Is there anything else you want to talk about this week?
No, I think that's good, man. I think we got. This is so next week's gonna be
big
show.
Week. Big week, man.
Big show, big week. We got
the Big Show's gonna be on. We have when did you contact the Big Show?
I didn't contact the Big Show.
Paul White?
No.
He's not gonna be here next week?
No.
What the hell, man? You just said it's going to be a big show next
This
week.
is going to be a big show, not the big show.
There's another big show?
No, it's going to be a big show.